So welcome everybody to our third webinar in our Global EdTech Impact Leaders series, where we're focusing on EdTech leadership in action. During this series of webinars, we're spotlighting transformative leadership in EdTech by sharing proven strategies, failures, and forward-thinking innovations that are shaping educational technology globally. Our third webinar in this series focuses on how leadership in using digital technology can empower rural farmers, especially women and youth, with practical, localized knowledge that drives sustainable, climate-resilient agriculture. It's a new topic for us, and we're all very excited to learn today from experts in the field. And we're joined today by Dr. Paul van Mele, co-founder and international director of Access Agriculture, Lara Rosmarin Barr, head of UVU Accelerate, UVU Africa, Kenson Banda, an entrepreneur for rural access and secondary school teacher from Malawi, and Smangele Makutu, who is a young farmer from South Africa with, I'm told, a passion for cabbages. So we're very, very lucky to be hearing from people who have benefited directly from program initiatives from Access Agriculture and from UVU Africa. So without further ado, I'm going to start by asking Paul from Access Agriculture to tell us a little bit about the organisation, what the mission statement of the organisation is, and how you're using educational technology to achieve your goals of empowering farmers and promoting sustainable agriculture. Over to you, Paul.
Thanks a lot, Nikki. Starting with Access Agriculture, we began in 2012. We are an international non-profit association, and we were actually created to support the global community of development and education institutes across the global south. Our mission is to enable the co-creation and the exchange of agroecological knowledge through quality learning videos, not just quality, but also in the local language, and then use a multitude of digital technologies and scaling strategies, because it is important to provide the services to as many organizations as possible. And so over the years, we actually developed a very cost-effective model to support education system, but also any organization working with rural communities. And we use various educational technologies. At first, we started with having a couple of dozen educational videos, and we built a video sharing platform. Now, over the years, this has really become a world-renowned resource. On our open access platform, people can find over 6,000 educational videos covering more than 110 languages, 80 of which are African languages. So it is a very unique library with quality farmer-to-farmer learning videos that people can freely download and use within their own context. Now, of course, an online platform, you need internet access, and in many rural areas, this isn't the case. And also many farmers do not regularly have access to the internet. So we have also developed additional digital tools that relate to the platform that contain the same educational content. For instance, a mobile app where people will occasionally need to have internet access to download videos within the app, but then afterwards they can share between farmers from app to app just using Bluetooth. So without the need to consume data or to have internet access. And then farmers can learn watching videos in their own language, seeing farmers from other parts of the world doing very interesting things that can inspire them. And this is something really developing. In the future, we will also make it audio enabled so that people who cannot read, they can also easily interact with the app. Already the app is available in 20 languages. Now, for group-based learning, including for schools, we also have this very interesting device, which is called the solar-powered Digisoft Smart Projector, and you can see it in the background. It's a computer and a projector in one, and it has our entire library offline. Comes with a battery, foldable solar panels, so people in rural areas, and Kenson will talk about that afterwards, in rural schools, in rural communities, people can actually screen videos for hours in a row. Yeah.
That's amazing, Paul. I mean, what really strikes me about the work that you're doing is that it's farmer to farmer education, and you're doing all you can to increase the reach of that and the accessibility of that by using different technologies adapted to the context that you're working in, a lot of which is off grid. So, could you talk a little bit more about what inspired the creation of Access Agriculture's video-based learning approach? What led you down that route in the first place? Why did you adopt that over other education models?
Well, our very first experience started about 25 years ago in Bangladesh, where women from a few villages had been trained by a project very intensively. And then we realized that all the things they had learned, women from neighboring villages couldn't benefit from the same. And we were looking at ways, okay, how can this learning be shared across communities if physical travel and face-to-face extension or knowledge sharing is an issue. So we came up with this model of farmer to farmer, women to women learning through videos. And we were at the time already very constrained with finance. And we said, well, how can we maximally distribute these videos using social capital and the social structures that are in place in the country? So with a few local organizations, we did a fantastic mapping exercise. And within a year, those local organizations, through their respective networks, they had reached over 100,000 women. And that was
Wow.
like a real eye opener, like, wow, there's so
Mm.
much you can do with digital technology. And then a few years after, I moved to Africa, um, working for a research organization. And I was thinking, wow, those videos that were made with rice farmers, with women rice farmers in Bangladesh, I think they would be very useful for farmers in
Mhm.
Africa as well. But my colleagues were like really resistant. They said, no, 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 they have to be developed in Africa, otherwise people will not accept it. I took it as a hypothesis, but whenever we had a chance actually to interact with village women and we screened the videos from Bangladesh, they were like really intrigued to see, okay, they are having similar problems and they are able to solve their own problems. So we should be able to do that as well.
Mm.
So it gave like really motivation. And after every event, the question was always, oh, can you please translate these videos in our language so we increasingly understand all that is communicated through the videos? And so after some years, we had those like a whole series of videos on rice, and people were like still asking, how can we get access? And that was like the third main learning lesson, that we realized there were really institutional bottlenecks to share the material between organizations. Somebody who had invested in a translation of the videos, they said, oh, this is our material. We don't want to share it with the institute next door. So that also created like a basic understanding that a centralized mechanism, centralized platform was needed to provide public access to anybody interested in using these learning materials.
Really interesting, Paul, especially the points about ownership and learning from others in different contexts, but that inspiring, farmers in different contexts to say, well, if they can do it, so can we. Really, really interesting. I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about how you ensure the content of the videos is both scientifically accurate and also relevant. What sort of quality checks do you put in place, if any? Can you talk us through that, please?
Yeah, Nikki, well, thanks for that question. I mean, for us, quality is really the core of our model. If we can't guarantee quality, nobody will be interested to use it, or
Mm,
very few people. And it is the quality actually that makes it that many people and many organizations, many funding partners also want to invest in translating these videos into multiple languages because the quality is really strong. And
mm,
we have over the years developed a very rigorous process to ensure quality is there. We have trained the whole network of local video production partners. And when they come up with a topic for a new video, we ask them first to develop a very simple fact sheet following a very specific format in which
mhm,
they need to explain the scientific background of that particular topic that they want to address. They are also asked to provide a name, contact details of a local or a national subject matter specialist with whom they will be testing, right? And as we develop the content, first fact sheet, then afterwards we go into script development. It goes through many, many iterations,
mhm.
and the local partners also need to interact with the farmers all the time to see whether what they present actually reflects what farmers are also doing and what they're interested in sharing. And this is something, so we continuously backstop these local production partners. We have an in-house team, but as you can imagine, you cannot have the scientific expertise on all the different
Mm,
topics. So we have also a vast network of external people whom we can call upon. And for instance, when it comes to ethno-veterinary science, we don't have veterinary people among our personnel, but we can call upon colleagues or people in India who have deep experience with these type of topics. And for different topics, we can call upon a network just to make sure that the science is really correct.
That's fantastic, Paul. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about your organization and how it works. I'm going to move on now to Lara from Uvu, Africa, who has been doing some incredible work in South Africa, particularly empowering rural women farmers with tablets and training in digital and business skills. So slightly different use of technology here. But Lara, could you tell us more about this initiative and how it's helping to drive agriculture, innovation and resilience, please?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And it was great to hear from you, Paul, and to hear what you've been doing. It's always inspiring for me to hear from others that are working in the sector. So thank you so much for sharing that. So my name is Lara Rosmarin Barr, and I represent Uvu Africa. And we have been incredibly fortunate enough to be able to build and grow businesses in all different industries and sectors. But what I want to share with you today is around our agri-tech sector. A little while ago, I was privileged enough to come and spend some time in the beautiful Mpumalanga region of Bushbuck Ridge, where Simangele is from as well, and we'll hear from her a little bit later. And my time there alerted me to some very interesting things. And the one thing that I think is most relevant for this conversation is I saw incredible female farmers producing incredible produce all around the region. And then when I looked again, I noticed that there were trucks of big supermarkets and big suppliers arriving into the area and bringing in similar produce to that which was being produced in the area. And I looked at this and I thought to myself, what would I want to impart here and what would I want to change? And I would want to change that trucks came into the area empty and filled up with the amazing produce of farmers like Simangele. And how could we build this bridge? How could we enable these incredible female farmers who had courage and guts and grit and determination and unbelievable work ethic to be part of supply chain? And so we launched our very first cohort, which is it's a very long name. Smangele, we've got to come up with a different name with our wonderful farmers, but it's called Top Technology Tools for Rural Female Farmers. It's a hell of a mouthful. And what we did was we worked together with Carl, and I think Carl's on the call as well from Feed It SA. And we put together a team of partners and we worked together to see how we could help these farmers become part of supply chain. We gave them tablets and data, business skills, farming skills, personal skills, and we really helped them to integrate. And what we saw come out of this program was our vision on steroids. Unbelievable farmers that have now employed other people. I think we've created more than 66 jobs through this one program with this one cohort of farmers. The farmers are increasing their produce. They're able to compete in supply chain, and they've increased their supplier database of where they are supplying. They form cooperatives together to help their reach. And we've seen such an upsurge in what has happened in the area. And what's incredibly exciting for us now is this has led to other things. It's led to our biotech cluster moving into the region of Mpumalanga to see how they can 10x what it is that we've done. We've seen our capacity, which is our skills development arm of Uva Africa, move in. We have a skills development center in Mpumalanga, and we're really all working together to see what we can do next to improve our program, to expand our program. We're looking to bring in agri-processing as well and teaching around AI, and to really empower the female farmers that are on the ground, like Simangele, who are absolutely off the charts incredible. They just needed to be given the tools to engage further.
Really interesting, Lara. So hearing from your work and Paul's work, it's showing two different angles of how digital technology are empowering farmers and the agriculture business. So we've got the instructional content, the learning from farmers, what works in different contexts and that, and then the skill side of engaging with the process, with the system, bringing goods to market. Can you tell us a little bit more about the role that leadership in EdTech plays in empowering rural women and youth in agriculture in Africa? The focus particularly on leadership in relation to this webinar series.
I think that what we've seen and is what's really been spotlighted is that these women that we've worked with have taken up that role. They've chosen to stand up from the front, to lead their communities, lead the charge of employing other people, and really take charge of their futures. They haven't waited for somebody to say to them, now's your time, here's your time. They could have taken our training program, upskilled themselves, and then let it be. But they've chosen a different path, and they really are forging the way for others in the same sector. And we've seen that with Simangele and all the others that are in the cohort. Leadership is about taking charge. It is about giving opportunities to others. It is about spotlighting opportunities for yourself and others. It's about paving the way for others. And I think the most important part for me is helping to equip others to do what it is that you've done. I think Oops, I lost again. So that they can also reap the benefits of what you've reaped. And I think leadership is so important. And I think what stood out for us amongst these women is there was very little competition and so much collaboration. And when women come together and they partner with one another and they take on this leadership role, the world is their oyster.
Fantastic, Lara. Thank you so much. Really interesting to hear about this sort of secondary benefits of this at the community level and seeing women empowering others in their community will have additional benefits at a community level and to
Very
young
much so.
children coming through.
Very much
Um,
so. And it's our vision, Nicola, that these women will be the mentors for the next cohort and the next
future
cohort.
people.
And the women will be continuing to mentor, help grow, and uplift each other. That's the
Mm,
vision.
fantastic. It's it's a really inspiring project. Thank you so much, Lara. We're going to move on to Kenson Banda now. And Kenson was an entrepreneur for rural access through one of Access Agriculture's programs, also a secondary school teacher in Malawi. Kenson, thank you for joining us today. Can you describe the challenges that rural communities face in accessing digital agricultural content and how you're overcoming them in Malawi? So what are the challenges that people have in the field and in accessing that digital content, and how are you overcoming them? Can you tell us about your experiences there, please?
All right, thank you very much, Nicola. Um, First and foremost, maybe we should actually contextualize maybe Malawi as a country. Malawi is an actually agrarian country where most families believe farming is more like a way of life. But it's actually surprising that up to date, we are still grappling with the problem of food security. And as a person who has actually maybe benefited from access agriculture through this project, I have discovered that lack of information on how to deal with some problems locally has been the major culprit. Because through the project, we have actually been enlightened in some of the ways of how to deal with these problems. The problems are actually, you can use local ways of actually dealing with the problem, but the lack of this digital information has been really a challenge. So thanks to Access Agriculture through their project. Coming back to your question, we are looking at Malawi. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. So there is a lack of connectivity, right? So we check, yeah, so there's actually a challenge of network problems. So most of the time, most of the digital information or maybe platform is actually shared or accessed through networks. So most of areas in Malawi, they all actually don't have proper network. Even those who are in cities, you find that there is that intermittent supply of actually maybe network that makes actually accessing digital information quite a challenge. So that's a major challenge. Then we also have lack of energy to power these digital platforms. So you talk of phones, you talk of projectors, you talk of TVs, whatever where a digital platform is actually shared. There is that problem of electricity. We don't have enough power or source of power where we can power our actually our platform where we can access digital information. So farmers are also grappling with that particular problem. Then again, much of the information which is actually shared on many digital platforms, the languages itself is actually in English as well as other languages. So when you look at the literacy level in Malawi is on the lower side. So most people cannot grasp what most of the information which is presented on the digital platform. So there's also another challenge of where we see there's a problem of a challenge. I mean, the language which the information is shared on digital platform makes farmers not to grasp what is actually there. Then there's again a challenge of extension workers, right? So we look at the government employs extension workers, including maybe other maybe institutions which deals with agriculture. but I was checking somewhere where they were saying that one extension worker has to deal with around 3,000 farmers. So this has left many farmers unattended to. Right? This problem is further expounded by the problem of resources of those particular digital platforms. So you find that even the trained extension workers, they rarely use other platforms where they could share the experiences which are there in or maybe digital form. So that's again another challenge. Then finally, I would also look at poverty levels. We have, as I said in my preamble, where I was saying that if farming in Malawi is more like a way of life. So, but because of the cost of production, farmers are grappling with the soaring cost of fertilizers and the likes. As a result, we see that farmers cannot afford to have things like maybe phones or maybe these platforms where they can access digital information. I would also add on the culture of handout. I don't know how it is in South Africa. Lara might actually shed some light, but in Malawi, most people in the rural areas, once they see that a project is being rolled out by an organization, they expect something in return. So you might have something to share with them, but once they see you, they say, here is the money which is coming. So another challenge that culture of expecting handout, even if maybe the projects which actually help, they're going to help them, you find that they have that spirit of wanting to gain something out of that. So sometimes it also makes them shun away from some of the activities that are there to help them access digital information. So on challenges, I would say those are some of the challenges that are actually very much common in our rural setup, or maybe in most part of Malawi.
Quite broad, aren't they? And really critical to using digital technology in that context to address those challenges. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've been using digital technology to address some of those? What have you been doing in your own area?
All right, thanks. So as we or maybe in our introduction said, I'm a secondary school teacher. So how have I been addressing these problems? I've been addressing them by teaching them in simple terms. So we are very much fascinated with this smart projector because it is actually solving a lot of problems that Malawian farmers are actually facing. Right? So the first and foremost is we are actually reaching out to the students, right? Because I'm teaching at secondary level where the students are at a critical level of making a choice. So we believe that once we are teaching the farmers, the students on actually how maybe they can access these particular videos, or maybe I would say the content which is in the videos, once they learn, they're actually going to be the light to their communities. So we look at an 18-year-old in Malawi is an adult. So I'm handling adults. So it helps to shape it helps to shape I would say their future in terms of farming activities. So once they go home, they are able to expand the knowledge, teaching their communities, as well as teaching their, what we call their parents. So the information is able to reach deeper into the rural areas. Another thing, we have also been engaging what is known as the local farmers. So what we do usually is that we have trainings, we train individual farmers where we look at our vicinity and then we invite them to our schools because of maybe distances. So we look at those communities which are within our schools. So we invite them at our school and then showcase these particular videos. And it has been really inspiring to see most of the farmers actually learning these videos with actually a happy face, simply because they are learning from their fellow farmers. And the problem that they face in their community, you find that it is really solved somewhere. I liked Paul when he said that we consult the Indians. So most of the videos there are actually coming from India. So from health sector, we have already learned more about India, that they are very good with the medicines and the like. So when we watch videos related to how to deal with the problem that they face, for example, maybe issues of fever in cattle farming, so the farmers learn, and it is actually in their language. So being in their language again makes it the lessons to be very much alive, as well as to understand whatever which is being disseminated to them. Beside that, we have also been working with the extension workers. So what we usually do, for example, I think last week we were with a certain organization which is known as Moderator. So this project has got its own extension workers, and these extension workers, we try to visit them in the office, that we have got a projector, and this projector has got videos installed in them, and you can access them once you need them. So they were so interested, and they said, can we see these videos? Right? Because we already know a projector. I said, no, this projector is not like any other projector that you know. So probably we had to set up a meeting with them. I was with my colleague, and then they watched the video. They said, no, these videos are the ones which we need. So they were actually looking at the cattle production, where they were looking at how maybe the farmers in places like India deal with various problems, for example, bloating. How can you control bloating? In actual, they watched that particular video. Then they also watched how to deal with the pest. Pest in actually herbal pest repellents. So how we can use local ways to control pest in their farming, because they said it is in line with what they do. So from there, it means the extension workers are learning also, and they said this is also going to be disseminated to their farmers under their charge. Then on top of that, they have also, whenever they have an activity where they need us to actually showcase the videos, they actually take us with them, so that we should meet the farmers under their charge as well. So if you look at the project,
that's really helping to address that issue with that the extension workers had of one extension worker into 3,000 farmers.
Yes. Yeah, it really helps. And beside that, Paul also talked about the app. Yeah, so there's an Access Agriculture application which has got all the videos that are also found in the projector. So the extension workers usually are a bit well-to-do people. They can afford phones. So we hope them to install the application so that they can use the information at their own convenient time. So again, this is another way how we have actually tried to navigate the problem that the farmers are facing. Beside that, we are also able to reach the hard-to-reach areas. So for example, we have got some places which have got no network, then they have no electricity. So if you check the projector, it is solar powered. So it has got a solar power. Then at the same time, it has got what you call a battery. So the battery and the solar allows us to meet these particular places, right? So the farmers from the rural areas are able to view these particular videos in their remote area setup. So in these areas, it means by the end of the day, they're also benefiting from the videos, and as a form of one way of reaching, or maybe the farmers accessing digital information. So I would say those are some of the things that we have been actually doing. Beside that, we have also the school garden. So what we do with the school garden is the school garden, it is designed in such a way that it employs the aspect of agroecological. So we don't use fertilizers, we don't use any these conventional ways of farming. So it acts as a model. So the students are supposed to learn from the garden, right? Some of the plants that help to repel pests, or maybe how you can deal with a particular pest in the garden. At the same time, the communities, or maybe the villagers within, after watching the videos, we're able to demonstrate to them, look at our garden model, and then the people go and then try to do the replica garden in their area. So they produce and then they can sell. And in case of our school, we actually have open days where we can sell our produce and then reinvest the money in the garden. That's what we actually been doing. Yes, yes.
Really interesting, Kenson. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I think that really shows the sort of business model that you're using to promote sustainable and scalable agriculture in rural areas through digital technology. Thank you so much. We're now going to move on to Smangele, who is a rural farmer in South Africa, who, as you've heard from Lara, has been part of the UVU Africa Accelerate program. So, Samangeli, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you start by telling us how using digital tools has changed your farming business? Can you tell us a little bit about your farming business and how, having gone through UVU Africa, you've learned about how to use these digital tools? How has that benefited you?
First, I would say I started the farming without knowing that there's a digital tools that I can use. And then Mr. Carl introduced me to Lara, where Mr. Carl also introduced me to the Fit SA. So after that, I was being told that no, you can make your farming easier if you can use these digital tools, which I didn't know much about it until I got to the UVU acceleration where they taught us how to use the tools and everything. Also, the Fit SA was also, as Mr. Kavina, that he's one of the mentors that actually is my mentor with Laura. They've been assisting me how to use the digital tools, and it has been make my farming easier than before. We know that before our fathers and mothers it was very hard for them to do farming, but now it's easier to do digital farming. And because some of the things, if you don't understand them, you can go to YouTube and check how it's been done. It makes our life easier. It's very easy. Even the plowing, it's no longer that difficult. Even the spraying, everything, it's no longer that big. But through that, I didn't know much about it until I've met Bolora and Mr. Carl. They took me through everything. So it made my farming very, very easier and also increased the production. It also increased my production. I think before I met them, I think I was producing maybe I can say 20%. But through them, it has made my life easier. I can produce because now I have a contract with the Agri-Hubby, the supermarkets around. We just got a contract from, I need to sign it, not yet. Then I got a contract from the Johannesburg Fresh Produce that I need to sign. It's because of the work that I've learned from Bolora, from their program, and also the work that I've been taught by Mr. Carl. It has been helping me a lot in a way that it has improved my production so much in such a way that I don't know how to explain it, but it has improved because I didn't know much about it until I met them. So my life has been easier. And farming, I would say, is not an easy journey. Sometimes it's very difficult, but we try our best to push, especially as women. It's not easy to be in the industry because they believe that farming is only for men. But I'm trying my best to prove them wrong that as women, we can do it. It's doable. If there are people that are doing it out there, if you can look for Malawi, China, there are women who are doing farming. So I would say I want to prove them wrong. It's no longer about me. I'm also trying my best to decrease the unemployment rate around my area and also to improve the food security. Remember, I went to school for farming, for agriculture, but it was not enough because it's easier when you do it practically than when you do it theoretically. So it's really assisting me a lot, even though I'm not where I want to be, but I know that I'll get there and everything all so far it's coming all right.
It's
So there's a lot
fantastic.
that I can say about farming. As they've said, Laura, I've said that I specialize in cabbages. I love cabbages because I'm a risk taker actually. Uh, I love where it's difficult that people they say it's undoable so that I can tell them that there's nothing that is impossible as long as you know what you want and that your heart is in it, you can do it. So that's why I decided cabbages is the difficult one. Cabbages, it's not easy to grow it and it's not easy at all, but I've been doing it And I'm gonna continue doing it so that people can see that it's not the only men that can do good in farming. Also, women, we can. As young as I am, I want to prove them the wrong that it's not all about that we need to go to school for us to get a job. But we need to go to school and come and create job. Remember, we have universities that are doing agriculture. When after that, when they're graduating, they're saying they need to do, when they're applying for jobs, they will tell them that they want 4 years experience. Where are they going to get it if I don't create those jobs for them so that after university, they come to my farm, they do their practicals, then they go out there and look for the job. I want to be one of the youngest mentors that are mentoring people who are in university, they are doing agriculture. So that agriculture, it's life. It's not
Mm.
just doing it. It's not only for what you're doing it for a job, but also you are doing it to create job opportunities for other young people who are like us who are willing to. Because I'm not the only one. I'm 100% sure that I'm not the only one who's into farming, who's want to do good, want to become one of the commercial farmers in not only in South Africa but outside South Africa. So I want to prove that to people that we can do it. It's not only for old people who can do farming. As young as you are, as long as you know your story and you're dedicated to this farming industry, you can do it. There's a
I'm
lot
sure
that
you
I can.
will, Smangele. I'm sure you'll achieve that mentorship. You already are by the sounds of it. I was wondering, could you tell me a little bit about when you first started the program and you were going to receive training in these digital tools? Were you anxious at all about it? Had you got experience of using digital technology beforehand? And how easy was it that for you to pick up those new technologies?
To be honest, I'll be honest, it was not easy for me
Mm.
to catch with it. But because the Laura tried their best on the program, not the Uvu Excellence, to take us through each and every step. So it really
Mm.
assisted us a lot. Not only me, I think we were 24. We benefited a lot because when they gave us that digital tools, it made our life easier because we were able to attend. We didn't know about that. We can attend meeting in Zoom meeting. They introduced that to us. They introduced a lot that we didn't know about. So it really assisted us a lot. For me to come to the program, I think I was interviewed twice because Mr. Carlton came to my farm twice to check if I really qualify to be on the program because they really wanted people that they want to work so hard in the farming. So I was one of those that managed to get the training from Uvu, and it was very beneficial to us because it assisted us a lot, especially on the digital side. It really
Mm.
improved us, and we wish that if there will be any training about that, they can take us through because we really need more of that. It was good, but it was not. The time was too short for us. We cannot just grab everything in one time. So
Mm.
the time was not enough for us to learn. They had a lot to give us, but the time was not enough for them to give us those, especially on the digital side.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it has been good to add. You have been
It's a
benefiting a
lot to
lot.
take on, isn't it? That extra learning. But it sounds
Yes.
like the digital technology has really helped. I mean, you said at the beginning that it's increased your production as well, which is incredible. I wonder, Samangli, you've got the final say from the speakers today. Can you leave us with a little bit of advice that you would give to other young farmers about adopting new technology? What would be your take-home message to other new farmers about having to learn new technology to support their businesses?
What I would say to the young farmers out there is that they need to be familiar with the technology because it make our life easier. Because there are things that you cannot read everything from the book, but through internet you can get everything that you need. So they need to be friends with the digital technology that so that they can improve their production, their skills. Everything is there on the digital tools. So everything is gonna make their production easier. It's gonna make their farming life easier. And like it is saying that you're gonna read on the books, we must use the new digital that's being introduced to us as farmers. Actually, they should make the digital tools, their friends. Wherever they go, they must make sure
Mm.
they have it in order for them to do the right thing. Because you can say, I'm a farmer, but you're not producing the way it's supposed to be. But through digital tools, you can get it right.
Thank you, Samangeli. That was fantastic advice there to be friends with digital tools. It was inspirational, Samangeli, listening to your story. And Kenson's also about the experience he's having in Malawi. Thank you both for joining us today. We have 15 minutes before the close, which is plenty of time for questions from our audience. And we have one question already asking if the speakers could tell us a little bit more about how they work with governments. And that's really about the question of sustainability. So if there is anybody that would like to volunteer on that, but I see Paul's got an answer. We'll start with you, Paul. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nikki, and thanks for the question. Sustainability is really important, and government is one pathway, but I also want to stress again the young entrepreneurs like Kenson that you have seen, that you have heard. They are actually young people who we help to set up as private extension service providers, equipped with a smart projector. And from experience, we already know that because it's a quality learning event opportunity, farmers are willing to pay for it. Yeah, so all the
Mm,
work that Kenson is talking about, so we are also setting up teachers from primary schools, from secondary schools, as private extension service providers to allow them to generate additional revenues, but also, I mean, to make it sustainable. And to identify these entrepreneurial people among the education system, we of course we interact directly with ministries of education. Yeah.
mm,
In Malawi, we've been interacting with the teacher training colleges, for instance. So they help us also tap into their networks. Um, in Ghana, just to give another example, we are also working with the national education system. That's a project funded by Mastercard Foundation,
mhm,
where we actually help to set up final year students as well as alumni from agricultural colleges to become again private extension service providers equipped with these smart projectors. And this is really powerful because again, it's peer-to-peer learning, in
mm,
this case, strengthened by youth to youth.
mm.
As Simangela was saying,
Say,
young people inspire other young people.
mm,
So if we equip them with the digital tools, it's fantastic to see all the things that happen, all the things that young people do, and how
mm,
much each of these entrepreneurs actually inspires in turn other young people, um, helped by the digital tools. Um,
mm,
so working with education authorities, school authorities, but all the way to district or state level or country level, but also we are working with ministries of agriculture, of course. And
mm,
there also we continuously, I mean, there's various ways you can say, okay, we're going to try to equip the rural extension service providers, the government system. But what we are doing in Uganda, for instance, is, well, we have these teams of young people, of young entrepreneurs who are youth, who are
mm,
dynamic, who are ICT savvy. Why not team them up with often the elder generation of rural advisories or
mm,
public extension agents? And it's also this mix of bringing generations together who have different sets of knowledge and different sets of expertise. And
mm,
this is another way also to encourage government systems to invest in youth and to bring them in such a way into agriculture. So not all of them do want to become farmers, but
mm.
agriculture is a very broad domain, and providing advice is one of them. Yeah.
Mm. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Any of our other speakers on working with governments for sustainability?
So,
Lara,
yeah,
has
I
got your
think
hand up.
Carl's also on the call here with Feed It, and he may be able to just add something on as well. But I think it's really important to be able to work closely with the governments in the regions where you are having impact, because they can really amplify and work together with you. And I think if you're able to get that partnership right, it can only benefit everybody in the region. We very much work on a model of collaboration, and we want to work with the departments of agriculture and all the other players that are also working in the same space as we are, but doing different things. So how do we aggregate that all together to amplify the impact? So incredibly important for us.
Do you think, Clara, that the government officers understand the importance of digital technologies in supporting the agriculture business? Do you think they have an appreciation for what you're trying to do and both in terms of education, but in terms of practice as well? Do you see that within the government offices?
So very much so. I mean, I think it's difficult to get that first meeting, but before you've kind of proven what it is that you're doing in the area and to build trust. But when there's some trust built up and you're able to show what you've done and show the results of what you've done and why you've done it and how it fits in together, and you're open to hearing from the government departments, what their thinking is. And a lot of these the government players live, breathe, have been raised in these regions, and they really have an understanding. And when you're open to sitting across the table from someone and to listening to where they came from, and you're able to share with them why you believe the intervention that you've built will solve some of the problems that they have, and it becomes a collaboration, you really 10x your effort. And that's incredibly important. I've had some really fruitful conversations with government, where I've been able to share with them our research and our thinking, and they've been able to share with us. And when you listen to one another, there really, really is a collaboration in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And do you see the link between departments for agriculture and education departments as well? Because quite often different government departments operate in
In
isolation.
silos, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do see a lot of silos in that everybody sticks to their knitting. But I think if you have enough information and you have enough data and you have enough success to show the cross-pollination of the different spaces, I think there's room for that. I mean, as at Uber Africa, we have Uber Bio, which is our biotech incubator, and they're very, very involved in the agri space. But we also have Ingenia, which is our EdTech incubator. And I know that our biotech incubator and our EdTech would be very open to hearing from one another how they could cross-pollinate and share ideas and come together for maximum impact. So we really live it within the Uvu ecosystem and very open to hearing that.
Really interesting to hear. And I think one of the things that's come out of today's webinar from all of our speakers is the importance of networking and the importance of really embedding deeply the knowledge within communities and working across ages, across communities, empowering youth and women to take on that leadership. It's truly an inspirational area to be working in. A call to the audience. Have we any more questions before we wrap up today? Any outstanding questions anyone would like to ask? Well, thank you very much for taking part in our webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. I find this area fascinating, and it's great to hear from two young people who have benefited from these programs, who are doing fantastic work in their countries, and also to hear about the programs and the initiatives that are taking place through Access Agriculture and Uvu Africa. Really, really inspirational work. A recording of the video of this a video recording will be available after. Please share it amongst your networks. And thank you to everyone here today. We have another webinar this month that's looking at how EdTech can be used at a system level to support systems. And I think that follows really nicely on from today's webinar, where we've been looking at that system of agriculture a lot more broadly, from individual farmers right up to supply chains and communities. So if you have the time and availability, that will be on the 25th of November. So we might see you there then. But thank you
Nicola,
to all
before
of
you
our
close off,
speakers.
I just
Sorry,
want to say
Lara?
thank you to you. I just want to say
Oh,
thank you to you from all of us on behalf of everybody that's been on this call. Thank you to you for pulling this together, for sharing the spotlight and for really making a difference in the space and for bringing us together. And I hope that with Paul and Kenson and Smangele and together with you, that we'll be able to do other things together. So thank you so much for the opportunity. We're really grateful to you. Thank you.
thank you, Lara. It was too good to miss. It was we had to showcase this, and definitely we will be developing these connections further. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful timekeeping, inspirational stories, fantastic work. And thank you that our centre has the initiative and the foresight to post webinars like this. Thank you to Raoul, who's provided technical support for us for this webinar, and we shall see you soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Have a good evening.